Do you think the Liberals need a radical change in strategy and that perhaps a new leader in the party might be a necessary change?
Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everyone.
Following last night's catastrophic loss in the now conservative riding of Toronto-St. Paul's, Chrystia Freeland was visibly rattled when faced with questions about the future of Trudeau as the leader of the Liberal Party.
Let's take a look.
Good afternoon, Marika Walsh with the Globe and Mail. Deputy Prime Minister, can the Prime Minister still stay on to lead the Liberal Party into the next election, given that you just lost one of the safest seats in the entire country last night?
Yes, he certainly can.
Can you explain why? Because everybody we're hearing from behind the scenes believes that the result last night means catastrophic losses across the country. If you cannot win in Toronto under Justin Trudeau, why should anybody believe you can win anywhere else under him?
Our government is focused on working hard for Canada and Canadians and on delivering results for Canada and Canadians. That is what the Prime Minister is focused on. That is what we are all focused on. The Prime Minister is committed to leading us into the next election, and he has our support.
So
This is baffling to me. I mean, the goal of any political party is to get into government, number one, and then maintain their position in government. They're essentially handing it away by keeping Trudeau as the Prime Minister, as the leader of the party.
Well, and I think the issue with this press conference is this happened earlier in the day. And I think everybody woke up thinking, what the heck happened in Toronto St. Paul?
I know we did.
Yeah. 4 a.m, that was something interesting. But I honestly think that she went out there with no prep. Because...
Yeah, they were probably prepping for a win. They thought it was in the bag. They thought it was a sure thing.
Well, especially because the fact that she was throwing shade yesterday, right? If calling everybody cold and cruel, and if you're voting for the Conservative platform, yeah, you're not so confident now, are you, Freeland? and she doesn't know what to say. And the other, the magical question, which was asked first, was, can Justin Trudeau continue as leader of the party? Yes, he can. Okay, explain that to me, Freeland, because a large majority of the people that the CBC talked to in that riding had said that they're either not going to vote or they're going to be voting Conservative because they don't want Justin Trudeau.
So here's the thing. He can remain the leader, but should he?
Wow.
I think if Justin Trudeau remains leader, it's going to give the Conservatives the best chance at cleaning house and getting a supermajority. But if they switch the leader now, they will have enough time to build up that leader's reputation before the next election. And I don't think they'll have a chance at winning. I think the Liberal brand has been ruined for a while, just because of everything that Trudeau and Freeland and the rest of them have done. But I think they will take less of a loss if they switch the leader out now.
Yeah, at this point, it's just about damage mitigation. So it's not a matter of if you lose the next election to the Conservatives, it's when you lose the next election to the Conservatives. So the question the Liberals need to ask themselves is, how badly do they want to lose? Because what St. Paul has told them a lot of very valuable information if they're willing to listen. So number one, it has told them that they cannot take any riding in Canada for granted. So that's number one. Number two is that longtime Liberal voters are completely turned off to Justin Trudeau to the point where they will vote against him or not vote at all in an election. So that's the second piece. And number three, it doesn't matter how good the candidate is in their riding. Maybe it's a phenomenal Liberal candidate, but it won't make a difference when it comes down to brass tacks and the actual voting, because people won't vote for them because of Justin Trudeau. So they have to ask themselves, how badly do we want to get our asses kicked in the next election? And it comes down to, if if they want to mitigate that, then they have to get rid of Justin Trudeau. And this is the other question that all of the incumbent Liberal MPs need to ask as well, because when they go back to their ridings and it comes election time, Justin Trudeau as a leader is now a direct threat to their seat if he is the leader of the Liberal Party, because that's what was demonstrated in one of the Liberal fortresses. So if one of the reddest ridings in the country can flip to blue because Justin Trudeau is the leader and for no other reason, what do you think all of these other Liberal MPs and backbenchers are thinking about their riding and their prospects of continuing their political career in the next election?
Well, and not only that, when you have ridings that they don't have a current Liberal MP and you need a nominee in there, like you're not going to be getting your pick of the litter, because campaigning and running an election, it's a lot of work. So who's going to want to run a campaign in a riding that they know they're going to lose?
And when you run for the nomination, even before you get to be picked as a candidate, you're spending your own money. So who's going to want to waste their own money in order to actually run for a losing cause? Because again, Justin Trudeau has completely poisoned the brand. So from a strategic point of view, there's no way out of this with Justin Trudeau as the leader of the Liberal Party. And recall, they gave him until the end of June to gain 5 points. He's gained 0 and lost a riding, a major riding. The writing's on the wall.
Hi, Minister Barbara with iPolitics. Still about last night's results in Toronto, St. Paul's. Do you think the Liberals need a radical change in strategy and that perhaps a new leader in the party might be a necessary change?
I just answered that question. Let me say the Prime Minister is focused on delivering for Canada and Canadians. Our whole government is focused on delivering for Canada and Canadians. That's what we're going to continue to do. The result in St. Paul's is certainly disappointing. We knew it was going to be a hard fight. I think it's especially disappointing because so many of us know Leslie. We know how hard she and her team worked. And I do also want to congratulate Don Stewart. He and his team worked hard as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the face of somebody visibly in real time eating their own crow. That's what that was. Like, she was so uncomfortable and she was almost like throwing up in her own mouth as she had to actually congratulate Don Stewart for winning.
Well, look at what she said yesterday, that, what was it? If you vote Conservative, then you're voting for cold, cruel...
And austerity and cuts.
That's why I'm really calling on the people of St. Paul's to go out there and vote for her. Because the alternative is really cold and cruel and small. The alternative is cuts and austerity, not believing in ourselves as a country, not believing in our communities and in our neighbors.
You know, I think, number one, raising taxes is not popular with citizens ever. But I think it would be a little bit more popular if citizens actually saw what their tax money was buying and felt that it was worth something. The Liberals have just been creating a deficit year after year after year. The value of our dollar is going down. We can buy less goods for the money that we have year over year. And Canadians are not seeing the return on investment, as the Liberals say. So, of course, Canadians are upset. Of course, Canadians want change.
Well, and they can't blame it on the Conservatives. Like, yeah, cuts to the budget are necessary because you're literally wasting taxpayer dollars. So, yeah, cuts are going to happen. And just because they're cutting your programs doesn't mean they're bad cuts. You think they're great programs. Canadians, on the whole, don't think that they need them. And all you've done is jacked up inflation, blamed it on everybody else, and said, "Oh, well, the evil Conservatives." And now your people are actually risking a defamation suit on Twitter, MP Turnbull was actually going out of his way to say that the Conservatives are implementing or ready to implement their 5-step plan to revoke abortion rights. That is
Are you serious?
flat out lie.
I didn't hear about this.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
It's a flat out lie.
I don't go on Twitter because I think it's better for my mental health that I stay off it. But I cannot believe Turnbull said something like that.
Yeah, and I was doing my civic duty by warning Mr. Turnbull that he better be careful because he doesn't enjoy parliamentary privilege on Twitter because it's not in the House of Commons. So he can be sued in a civil suit as it relates to libel laws. So you better be careful.
We know that these are hard times for Canadians. We know that we have to work hard to earn back their trust. And we know that the way to do that is by delivering for them, by delivering fairness for every generation, by delivering investments in housing and infrastructure, including in rural broadband, the investment we're announcing today, by delivering investments in making life more affordable for Canadians with things like dental care, which is being rolled out this month to kids under 18, by delivering on a national program of early learning and childcare. Already, families in Ontario are saving more than $8,000 per child, but we need to get to $10 a day and be sure there are enough spaces for all the families that want a space. We need to keep on delivering investments in our economy and in economic growth. I was at a car parts plant yesterday, and I could see the brilliant work the people working there are doing, the workers, the innovators. They need our support so that Canada can be on the cutting edge of the 21st century global economy. And we know that we need to deliver all of those investments in a fiscally responsible way so that inflation can continue to stabilize. It's now been within the Bank of Canada's target range for 5 months in a row. That's good news. We have more work to do so that the Bank of Canada can continue its work bringing rates down.
It sounds like Freeland is talking about the Liberal platform like it's in palliative care.
It is in palliative care.
She sounds like she's at a wake, not an announcement. And I was surprised she didn't, throw out the foreign interference talking points because she didn't know what to say. So all she could revert to is just all of the bull crap, parliamentary language, bull crap, Liberal talking points on almost every single thing.
But they are at a wake, Ryan, because they are mourning the loss of that seat in Toronto St. Paul's. They thought for sure they had it in the bag, for sure.
And here's the other thing that I bet is really concerning Chrystia Freeland. So the riding of Toronto St. Paul, guess whose riding is just to the south of that? Chrystia Freeland. So that demographic that is a hop, skip, and a jump right away from Chrystia Freeland's riding, she has to be feeling extremely nervous right now because those demographics, they don't just like chop off at the edge of the boundary. All those people talk and these demographics mix and the voting preferences mix.
Well, it's the blue creep, right? It's going across the country. We're seeing a blue wave like I don't know if we've ever seen before, where Canadians have just had enough of the Liberals and they're voting Conservative en masse.
Right. So this is just it's bizarre to watch because there's nothing behind these words, and she's just like, we're gonna deliver for Canadians. We're gonna continue delivering.
She
for
seems
Canadians.
so defeated today.
Yeah.
And you know what? They deserve it.
Yep.
They were arrogant and they thought, we've had this riding for 30 years. Surely we'll win it in this by-election.
And we'll just call everybody names and make fun of them, and we'll be laughing tomorrow. Well, Nobody's laughing in the Liberal Party now.
And why exactly do you think the Liberals are failing to retain voters in ridings like St. Paul's that, the party held for decades? What is going on?
I think I already answered that question, and I'll just say this is a disappointing result. We take it seriously.
Of course you take it seriously. You take everything seriously.
You take this very seriously.
I take going to the washroom very seriously.
Oh, Lord.
Like, come on. I believe I already answered that question. Actually, you didn't. The previous questions were, can Justin Trudeau lead this party? You said yes. And, why do you think that is? And, we need to focus on delivering on Canadians. The question here was, why do you think Canadians tuned out?
We know that things are hard for people in Canada, and we know we have to work even harder, delivering for Canadians, winning back the trust of Canadians. That's what we're all committed to do.
So it was a pretty short press conference, pretty short wake for the Liberal Party. But let's just cut to the chase. Chrystia Freeland knows darn well what happened yesterday, rather this morning, and she knows what it means for the Liberal Party. And she knows that what it means is the party's over. This is the signal that the Liberal Party, I think, is finally seeing that their party is dying.
Well, you've heard that phrase, go woke, go broke, and it's finally caught up to the Liberal Party.
Right. And you continue pushing it and you continue ignoring everybody. And this is what happens. You end up alone because everybody tunes out. Everybody sees exactly what the policies yield, which is misery.
Division.
Yeah.
Division amongst Canadians, poverty. 25% poverty rate in this country right now.
And rising.
And it was definitely 14% or less under the Conservatives. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but it was much less than it is right now. And inflation's going up, housing is going up, rents are going up. The cost of everything is increased. Like, you talk to young people and they say they can't start a family because they can't afford it. I mean, a baby is not a luxury item.
Well, and the issue is the Liberals have no answers to any of these problems, right? So let's say inflation went to zero right now. The only problem that solves is things aren't going to get more expensive. But the problem is things are already too expensive for everybody.
Yeah, it stays expensive. The best we can hope for is that wages catch up, but they almost never do.
Right. So Freeland, I think she's just at a loss. She doesn't know what to say. She doesn't know what to do. She's probably annoyed that she doesn't have any good answers to these very, very tough questions that need answering. And I think she's getting ready mentally. I think she seriously is getting ready for the destruction of this party. And I think it's going to end up with Trudeau being forced to resign by his caucus. I don't think there is any way around that unless all of them are willing to go down with the Titanic.